Welcome back to the Division 2. In this video I want to talk to you about two new exotics that are going to be coming to the game, and I'm going to say straight off the bat they are both locked behind the second raid, and to be completely honest, neither of them really seem that appealing. At first glance they look quite cool, and I mean the talents don't seem too bad, but because they're locked behind the raid, you would kind of expect them to be a little bit better. That's just my opinion, and I want to know your guys' opinions in the comments. So we'll start off with the Ravenous. These were both drip-fed as well. When they released Warlords of New York, we saw images for both. And when we started getting all of the Year 2 exotics, like the Lady Death, the Bullet King, no one could find these weapons. And now we found out they are going to be locked behind the raid. I don't know why there's two this time. If you were trying to prepare yourself for the raid, I would probably go with a DPS build, because I can't see the developers changing too much in terms of mechanics, so I do think the raid will be mainly DPS checks, although I could be completely wrong. But starting with the Ravenous, it's a double-barreled rifle. The talent for this means that on trigger pull it fires from both barrels at the same time, so it's basically going to be a double shot. When you fire it from your right shoulder, it is going to add offensive primers. When you fire it from your left shoulder, it will add defensive primers. I don't see that mechanic as being good at all. Just the fact that depending on whether you're wanting to play offensive or defensive, you're having to switch shoulder. I've never felt too comfortable firing weapons from my left shoulder. And to be completely honest, it does seem as though the offensive primers are going to be 500 times more beneficial than the left shoulder primers. When stacks are added from your right shoulder, so when you're shooting from your right shoulder, once you switch over and shoot from your left, it will detonate the primers and vice versa. So you fire and you build up stacks with your left shoulder, you fire from the right and it detonates those primers. Each offensive primer will deal 75% extra damage, and the defensive will add 2% bonus armor for 5 seconds. Primer effectiveness is also doubled at 10 stacks. So I mean, if you are playing offensive, it's going to be really helpful, because each offensive primer will add 75% extra damage. Times that by 10 for 10 stacks, because obviously it doubles at 10, so you're able to get 10. That's 750%, and then you double it, that goes to 1500% extra damage. And because it's a rifle, it should have more damage than an assault rifle. We could be looking at, depending on fire rate, like RPM and stuff, we could potentially get like 200k base damage out of it. Maybe more, maybe less, it's just kind of a guessing game at the moment. But on the other hand, I don't know why they've added a timer for the bonus armor, because you get 2% each stack. You add that up to 10, that's 20% bonus armor, and then you double it because of the double effectiveness at 10 stacks. That is 40% bonus armor, which is amazing, and it will be really helpful, but only lasting for 5 seconds, and then you have to build those stacks up again. I don't know if it's just me, but the timer seems to be on the low end, like very low end. If anything, I believe it should have like a 15 or 20 second timer, but then at the same time, I don't think it should be timed. Obviously, there are balancing stuff that developers have to go through, and they've been testing it for a while, because the raid should be released within the next 2 months. They said spring 2020. It's already been delayed multiple times. So hopefully we do see it before the end of June, which is going to be the end of spring. And at the same time as it not seeming like, I don't know why the developers have decided to go with shoulder switching to change which primer you're wanting to use, and all this primer detonator stuff. That's the sort of things you see in Anthem. I don't feel like, personally, I don't believe it fits in this game. It's a cool concept, don't get me wrong, but it just feels as though they could have done a lot more with the rifle. And then looking at the attachments, you're going to get 5% crit chance, 10% reload speed, 5% crit damage, and 10% stability. So again, I believe because it's a rifle, or what we're led to believe is a rifle, I'll leave a link in the description to this spreadsheet that I've found the information on, because it explains a lot of stuff, and you've got all of the exotics, it tells you their talents, it tells you the attachments they come with. It's a very detailed spreadsheet. I'll leave it linked in the description. But personally, if this is definitely 100% a rifle, I don't think stability is going to make a difference. I think if anything at all, it should have been accuracy, because stability decreases your recoil and how much you need to control it, whereas accuracy keeps the bullets more on target. So if you've got, I don't know, let's just say for example you've got 400% bonus accuracy, your shots should be hitting exactly where you're shooting. Whereas if you look at a weapon like the Chameleon, that's all over the place. The accuracy is horrible. But with a rifle, I don't think you need stability increases. I think accuracy is the better option. But then switching over, and we're going to take a look at the Regulus, which is a pistol. Kind of looks like a revolver magnum type weapon. And again, this one, it's not unique in any way, shape or form. It's locked behind the raid. It's going to have an incredibly low drop chance, as well as being a grind within itself just to obtain. And headshot kills deal 400% weapon damage and apply bleeds to all enemies within 5 meters of the one you kill with a headshot. 400% weapon damage does sound cool, but if you look at the Bighorn, if I remember correctly, because I haven't looked at that weapon in a long time, that has 450% weapon damage boost when you switch it up, like when you aim down your sight and you switch it up from fully automatic to semi-auto. And that 450% is still not a lot, because I've seen several other rifles in the game that have actually dealt the same or more on my build than what the Bighorn does. So 400% extra damage seems really good, but if you can get a base damage of like 80k from this pistol, then yeah, okay, that seems decent. But a lot of pistols are going to have like 30 or 40,000, or like rough sort of stats, like estimate type things, and 400% on top of that is really not a lot. Especially if it's going to work as a revolver, or like a Magnum does, then it's not going to be how it would if you were firing an M1911 or something like that. It's going to be like a little break in between each shot. And not only that, it's when you get a headshot kill, it deals 400% weapon damage. So you actually have to kill your enemy to get the 400% weapon damage, but does that last for the next bullet, for the next magazine? It doesn't state how long that weapon damage actually lasts for, because you have to kill an enemy in order to obtain that bonus damage. You don't just get a headshot and those headshots deal 400% weapon damage as the headshot kill. And then to wrap the video up, I just wanted to let you guys know, like make you aware of these weapons. The attachments for the pistol are 10% reload speed and 5% crit damage. Again, with the attachments, I think reload speed is a pretty good one, but instead of all this crit chance, crit damage on everything, I believe they should start adding in actual bonus damage. So not just whilst you're going for crits, so that way there's more diversity in how you're going to use the weapons. It's not just going to be get a crit chance and crit damage build together. I would like to see builds be more varied, and instead of everyone going for crit chance and crit damage, actually have builds viable or as viable as a crit build, make the weapon damage builds and other things in the game make them just as good. But on that note, we're going to leave the video there. I'll be back very soon. I've actually got a big announcement coming up, so stay tuned on the channel for it. Let me know your thoughts and stuff in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.